welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today's episode we're going to be talking about what we know so far about King Charles III's coronation.
And what do we know?
Well, there's quite a bit, actually, thanks to the BBC, which I've been researching on. They've put it all together. And
so we don't personally know it. No one's called us.
No one's told us, no. And we haven't got our invites yet.
Oh, no, that's not a good sign.
We're just still waiting on them. But yeah, it's what we know, who's attending and who isn't, because, everybody was kind of like, oh, there's nobody, rushing to play his little party at the Windsor Castle afterwards.
God. It was looking sad.
It was looking very sad, apparently.
Have we talked in the podcast about who all he reportedly had asked and been turned down by? He asked
Harry Styles, Ed Sheeran, Adele.
Yeah.
Major British stars, and they all turned him down because
the Spice Girls also?
The Spice Girls. Yeah, I think he asked the Spice Girls and they said no.
To be fair, some of them were on tour, it's just middle
They
of
were on tour, yeah.
It's not the middle of the summer, but it's the summertime, it's like middle of touring season. Yeah,
it's touring season, yeah. They're all on tour, they're all doing other things. I think Ed Sheeran's in New Zealand, Harry Styles is somewhere else,
Yeah.
They're all like... And Adele just didn't want to do it for unspecified reasons. I think she's got her own show in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's got a residency there that she can't...
Yeah.
Because there was controversy when she didn't start her show on time.
Yeah.
And she goes, I can't do it, mate. Oh,
You say controversy and not controversy?
I say controversy. I say whatever comes to mind at that exact moment.
I was going to say, just hearing you say controversy, I was like...
Controversy.
You don't say controversy.
My dad used to say controversy. I used to say controversy too.
I'm sure I've heard you say controversy.
Yeah, but I say controversy too.
Too much time in America.
Controversy.
They're going to start questioning your Britishness soon.
Yep, I mean, it's all about the inflections, isn't it?
Sorry about the way we sound. Dominic's currently got a cold.
I've got a little cold. Yes, it's a cold.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an allergy cold.
Yeah.
Severe, mold levels in the region.
Yeah. Maybe they can't even hear it. I don't know. They're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, because, I've been kind of, congested on and off, so if I...
Meanwhile, to me, I feel like I sound like I'm talking like
well,
this.
I sound like I'm talking like that, too. I mean, I have that stuffed up nose kind of sound. But yes.
Yeah.
What we know is that, most of the royal family will be attending, obviously.
Yeah.
And, of course, two people have been going crazy about. Which
Beatrice and Eugenie.
Beatrice and Eugenie. I was actually going to say Charles and Camilla. Are they even going to bother turning up? And that would be funny, because I can see everybody just going, oh, well, we're waiting now, and we're waiting for this car, and it doesn't seem they're here. We don't know what's happening. They're here to be crowned, but we don't know what's happening. They're not here yet.
Charles doesn't even show up to his own coronation.
Well, that would be a first. It's like he hasn't bothered to show up, and he's just like,
this is going to be no good.
Do it next week, mate.
I can't be bothered going to this.
Not worth it. But yeah, you have most of the Harry and Meghan. The controversy is the controversy.
Of course, yeah.
Is surrounding them.
Yeah.
And, they were apparently playing transatlantic ping pong, as the media calls it.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. The palace were extending an invite. Then they weren't extending an invite. And Harry was saying no, and then he was saying yes, but not without an apology.
Oh,
First, a public apology.
Yeah.
From them on bended knee.
Public apology.
Yes, from the BBC, beamed live all to television networks in the world.
On bended knee with praying hands.
Little Teddy next to Charles going, very sorry, Harry and Meghan, please come to my coronation.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So, it was going back and forth, and William didn't want him there. Then William didn't want him there. That was another thing. William doesn't want Harry there.
Yeah.
And he has ultimate power since he's heir apparent.
Yeah.
And Charles said he did want him there. Oh, it was just, and then Harry was saying, oh, well, I might turn up.
Yeah.
And then he said he would go, and Meghan was going to stay.
Harry and
Montecito
Meghan
with the kids.
Harry and Meghan fans were disgusted that they chose the day for the coronation on Archie's birthday.
Yeah, Archie's birthday.
How dare he be coronated on the day of their child's birth? It's like they felt like he chose that day to what? To overshadow his grandson? I mean, how petty could he possibly be?
Well, that's
probably pretty petty, I guess. I don't know.
Well, because we just finished Harry's book.
Yeah, well, we finished it a while ago. Yeah. And we were going to actually make a full podcast on it. Well, to be honest, we did make a full podcast on it. We talked.
Yeah, we talked all about it. I think we talked all.
Yeah, we talked quite a bit more than we actually intended to. On our Patreon page for our patrons only. So if you want to hear that, I would suggest possibly going over there to check that out.
Yeah, subscribe to our patrons.
Patreon.com/tea and a Butty. We were just going to do like a short version, a short like reaction over there.
But it ended up being like 3 hours long. It was like Avengers Endgame.
We couldn't.
With no pictures.
We couldn't stop ourselves, It was like there's a lot to unpack about that book. So it ended up being kind of long. And then we just decided, we'd already done it. And so, I mean, not to say we couldn't be bothered to do it again over here, but we couldn't be bothered to do it again. I'm so sorry. It's like, how many times can we like react to that book? You know what I mean? So if you want to hear it, it's over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he mentions that he wants an apology and everything in his book. So like him wanting this apology is not new, right? To us.
He wants an apology, and he stated about in his book that Charles was all, I can't afford to pay for her.
For
Meghan, and I can't afford to pay for you both doing all this. And And so, it's just incredibly petty family squabble.
Yeah,
stuff,
and I said how petty could he possibly be? Well, according to the book, they're all very, very petty. So maybe he did choose to do it on Archie's birthday, but why?
Yeah.
Why? Why would he have said, "Mwahaha, we'll have the coronation on Archie's birthday"?
Yes.
It's like, what does that serve? It just probably was the easiest day, whatever, somebody probably presented that day to him as an opening in the schedule and the best choice, and I mean, not to say he doesn't know when his grandson's birthday is, but he probably wasn't, Archie's not that old. He's not been around that long.
Yeah, no.
He probably wasn't thinking oh, no, we can't do that. That's on Archie's birthday. Plus, they're living over here. So it's like, what would his birthday, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Were they going to have a party in Britain for him when he's not even there? You know what I mean?
Yes,
I don't know. I'm probably thinking about it too much.
Yes. Well, I mean, people have thought about it and
oh my God,
unpacked it.
People were pissed off, though.
People were very annoyed, very pissed off.
And they shouldn't go to his coronation because it's Archie's birthday. They should throw a big birthday party for him instead and invite everybody who didn't go to the coronation.
Yeah. I mean, yes. It's very petty, isn't it? It's all juicy drama.
Yes.
Prince William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, will be attending, as will, and it's funny the way the BBC have worded this, as will two of the King's siblings, Anne, Princess Royal, and Edward, Duke of Edinburgh. And then after much speculation, Prince Harry confirmed he would attend, but his wife Meghan would not.
So Andrew's not attending?
No. Then they say Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, is expected to go, but his ex-wife, the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, will not attend. Yeah, she's been out there saying, I'm not invited.
Why didn't they include him in the two of Prince Charles' siblings?
Because he doesn't make any kind of announcement.
What do you mean?
Andrew is persona non grata pretty much everywhere.
We're pretending that they're no longer siblings.
They're pretending that he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well,
we don't acknowledge him.
I mean,
because, you know...
the Sussexes got kicked out of Frogmore so that Andrew could live there, right? I mean...
It was a downsize, because he was at Royal Lodge. And people are like, oh, you know, and it's like, yeah, because Frogmore's quite a downsize to what he was enjoying at Royal Lodge. And I'm sure Charles is like, no, we'll kick him out of there.
Yeah.
Put him in a smaller place. I'm not upkeeping all that. I'm not paying the bills on all that.
Yeah.
Just for him and Sarah to kick about.
Yeah.
You know?
You mentioned that Prince Edward was going to attend. Did they call him the Duke of Edinburgh?
Duke of Edinburgh?
Duke of Edinburgh.
Yes. Yeah, Edward Duke of Edinburgh, yeah, because he was conferred that title.
Yeah, because I don't think we've talked about that in the podcast.
Yeah, he's now Duke of Edinburgh.
Which was Prince Philip's title.
Prince Philip's title, yeah, and it was expected it would go to him, you know? Because Andrew was already the Duke of York anyway. Yeah. You know?
Yeah,
he got pretty much everything because he was the Queen's favourite.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting, and...
Beatrice and Eugenie are going to attend.
Okay.
It's likely.
Yeah.
That Andrew's daughters...
Yeah, I mean, they were making kind of a big deal about the
Princess
fact that
Anne's daughter, Zara Tyndall, and her husband, Mike Tyndall. I
think they were kind of making a big deal that Fergie wasn't going to be there, but Fergie's not really part of the family anymore. I mean,
she's divorced from Andrew.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing that she's living with him still.
They're like, oh, she's got the Queen's corgis. It's like, well, I guess she's going to babysit them on the day of the coronation then.
You know, and of course, conspiracy theories abound as like, why are the royal family still paying for her? And, you know, the people are going, well, she's, Princess Eugenie and Beatrice's mother, so, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people saying, no, she was kicked out for a while by them.
Yeah, she was.
And she had to she had to fend for herself on the mean Fleet streets.
Well, she wrote tell-alls and stuff,
She wrote tell-alls.
Yeah.
She made TV deals.
Interesting that they would take her back in after that.
Exploited her connections to Andrew for cash.
Yeah.
And
sold
stories and sold access to him, and journalists, you know, blew the whistle on that.
Sold stories. Like, I'm sure they've probably all sold stories. Well, Harry says they're calling stories in to the press all the time.
It's like, oh, here's a tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
anyway,
all the grandkids are going to be there, you know, obviously George and, you know, they're going to attend and they're going to be part of the celebration, you know.
Well, not all of his grandkids are going to be there. Because Meghan's holding the other two back in California.
Yeah. I mean, that would be funny if Harry turned up with the kids and not
I think
her.
that's sad. I don't know. I feel kind of sad about that. Like, okay, if Meghan doesn't want to go, fine. If the family doesn't want her to go and she's agreed not to go, then that was nice of her, whatever. I think the grandkids kind of need to be there. Like, that their grandfather
well, yeah, because they need an extra pair of hands to throw tomatoes at the people who are going, oh, hey, you know, at the mall.
Their grandfather
throw those tomatoes at that public.
Their grandfather's being crowned king. Like, they should definitely be there, I would think. But
yeah, because the press speculated, and you know, it's like, oh no, the family don't want you there. You know.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe there's a couple of people in that family she doesn't want to see.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of... I'm sure most of the family Meghan doesn't want to see. Yeah.
And then, you know, and of course it's, you know, you've got no support from the press, which, you know, Meghan will equate to being the British public.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I guess.
You know, because it's like, oh... But it's like, it's just a handful of hacks in a room.
Yeah.
Who are speaking for every idiot Sun reader out there, you know. It's like, yeah, Meghan, yeah, don't want her here, you know. God, yeah. All that nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
They're not everyone, you know. It's just that kind of thing with a lot of these, you know, a lot of these tabloids, you know. It's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. We were talking about Dan Wooten.
Oh, yeah.
Who was tweeting... oh, how dare Meghan, want to come to this, she better not be coming to this coronation after the way she's treated the royal family in her Oprah interview and called them racists and liars and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then it turns out she's not going.
It was announced she's not going.
Announced she's going, and he's like, oh, she thinks she's too good for us. She thinks she's too good for us.
Not going.
Not going. How dare she not come? Does she know who we are? And he's from New Zealand, Dan Wooten, so, what the hell does he know, But yeah.
He's the same one who expressed outrage that Joe Biden wouldn't attend the coronation.
Oh, yes. Joe Biden's not coming to the coronation.
Why in God's name would the American president go to the coronation of a British monarch?
Well, yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, really, historically, especially.
Politicians, world leaders, and foreign royalty will be there. Obviously, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is going to attend, alongside other cabinet ministers and peers. Former UK Prime Ministers such as Liz Truss, Tony Blair, and the new First Minister of Scotland, Humza Yousaf.
I mean, of course, all the British politicians are going to be there.
Emmanuel Macron's going to be there, French president.
I mean, that's a little weird, but then again, France was never a British colony, was it?
Well, no. But, they were... there was a lot of war between...
It's like America not attending the coronation of
Jill
a British
Biden's
monarch
gonna be
has been a long-held tradition, let's say, in this country. It's like we're Americans. We're no longer British. We don't believe in the monarchy. In historical context.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Jill is going to be there. I wonder, I don't really know the history of, have first ladies in the past attended coronations?
I have no idea.
Or is this going to be a first? I don't know.
We have done research on that, but...
Yeah, no, someone let us know if you do know.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, royalty from around the world. Like Crown Prince Akishino and Crown Princess Kiko of Japan. Monaco's Prince Albert and Princess Charlene. Sweden's King Carl Gustaf.
I mean, all of them are related distantly, aren't they?
Yes. I mean, a lot of, and it's kind of like that kind of thing, and a lot of the armed forces are going to be there.
Well, yeah.
Volunteers and stuff like that, and of course Of
course, yeah.
There's going to be street parties. They're going to make this as a big a deal as they can in today's modern age.
Yeah.
Because, back in, when this last happened in 1953, there was no social media. The social media was the newspaper, and the newspapers back then were not inclined to throw mud at the royal family.
Well, and you were less than a decade out of World War II, so it was like people were still very patriotic.
Do you know what had ended? Rationing ended, I think, officially in 1956, maybe. But rationing was coming to an end. Most things were off ration.
Yeah.
Including the national loaf. That was completely thrown out. So everybody was making white bread and they were making sandwiches. This is a party.
But people were still very patriotic. And there hadn't been a queen in a long time.
There hadn't been a queen in years, and there won't be one for years now.
So it's understandable. Everybody was feeling very excited, and it's just a different time now.
It's a different time, a different age.
Also, the world is kind of a king, really? In 2023,
a king?
Yeah.
How dare there be a king?
Yes.
How dare there?
Exactly. It's it's a very different time. So it'll be interesting to see, they're going to have street parties and stuff. Is anybody going to attend the street parties? We don't know,
I mean, I'm sure they'll make it, there's people who want to turn up.
People like a party anyway,
people love a party. They want to get drunk. They want to get drunk.
Any excuse to get drunk. It is Britain after all.
And it's funny because someone was like, they were talking about the Coronation Street parties, and there was something on Quora, I think. And it was a funny story.
When you said Coronation Street parties, I was thinking Coronation Street parties. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Coronation Street, the show,
oh yeah,
parties on Coronation Street.
Well, there probably will be something celebrated on Coronation Street, the soap. Yeah, but no, I was looking on Quora, and someone was talking about, oh, can this guy get the council on me for not inviting him to my Coronation Street party?
Oh yeah,
because he found out that I disinvited him or something, or I told him he wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny. It was, I can't remember the story now, but it had me in stitches because everybody was just kind of like, it's like, yes, he's going to get the council on me or something, because he is invited because he's a resident of the street. But I was like, yeah, he's not putting anything out.
Oh, he didn't want to bring something.
He didn't want to bring something. That's what it was, and everyone, you've got to bring something. You've got to bake a cake. You got to,
like
bunting.
Like a potluck type of thing.
Yeah, it's like the council are supplying the tables and the chairs, I guess, if you want to be one, because you have to put your name down, and everyone on the street has to, enough people on the street have to agree to do it, so it is a party,
Yeah.
But this guy was like, oh, and I was made, like, head of it.
Yeah,
this committee or whatever.
And this guy was saying he was going to come, but he wasn't going to bring anything.
I'm going to come, but I'm not going to bring anything. And he's like, no, he's just going to eat everything and drink everything. And
you can't come if you don't bring something.
And he's like, oh, I know it was you keeping me off of that. It was really funny, because it's just kind of like such a petty kind of like dispute, But yes, I mean, celebrities are going to be attending. People like Joanna Lumley, Stephen Fry, Rowan Atkinson.
Stephen Fry.
So they may be coming, Yeah. They haven't really, it's rumours,
Is Stephen Fry a royalist? I would have thought he was very, like...
Yeah, I think he's pretty royalist.
Is he?
I think he is, yeah. I think he's very for Britain, so yeah.
Rowan Atkinson, yeah.
Well, yeah, that was for the wedding blessing in 2005 of Prince Charles and Camilla. Stephen Fry, Rowan Atkinson, Richard E. Grant, Prunella Scales.
So they're predicting a grand return of these people.
So David Victoria Beckham could be on the guest list. And it's like...
so they don't really know.
They don't really know yet because no one's confirmed who's going to turn up.
Yeah. So we started talking about earlier who was asked to perform and turned it down. And for a long time, there was no sort of like... It was a little bit like, who is he going to get to perform? It was tumbleweeds,
because a lot of them were saying no.
Yeah.
And it was looking embarrassing
and
for him.
You and I were trying to, like, predict, like, who could he get? Who might consider performing, because...
Well, we thought Paul McCartney and everyone would, like, jump at the chance, but he hasn't invited them.
Yeah, you were sort of predicting he wanted, like, a younger, hipper
He wanted a younger, hipper audience, because, he's such a young and hip bloke, isn't he?
Well, he doesn't want to appear, like...
Fuddy-duddy.
Yeah, what's the word? Like, non-relevant.
Non-relevant, and that's what it is. It's like, oh, we don't want to appear non-relevant. We don't want just a bunch of your old fogey friends around.
So then let's talk about who...
We don't want Malcolm from across the road giving a poetry reading and... So
then let's talk about who is confirmed, though.
Confirmed now, Katy Perry.
Is Katy Perry currently relevant, though?
Take That.
Take That? Is Take That currently relevant?
And Lionel Richie.
Oh, come on!
Hello? It is him you're looking for.
I mean, it's like...
They're confirmed. They're among the first names to be confirmed.
It's like, did he send out an invitation to the entire judging panel of American Idol? Or what?
Probably, yeah. Take That. I mean, I knew Take That would do it, I mean, I don't know how much they're paying for this.
Take That. Is Take That the one with... Robbie Williams?
Used to be.
Okay.
He's no longer with them anymore.
Minus Robbie Williams.
Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, he hasn't been with them since. I mean, I think when they reformed in 2010.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. I'm not sure. But they split up in like 1996 or something.
Yeah.
And Robbie Williams went on to have his solo career, and then. They reformed in 2010 because of the whole the people who were my age were all like, oh, nostalgia.
Yeah.
Even though they were only like 25, or whatever. It's just like...
Yeah.
They're all nostalgia when I was a kid, whatever, People my age are a little bit older than me, and so they reformed, and they had a couple of hits in the charts, original ones,
Yeah.
But Robbie Williams wasn't with them, and I think he only reformed with them after, like, much pressure, but it was only for, like, one gig.
Yeah, I mean, I feel kind of sad about this lineup, but...
It sounds... Andrea Bocelli will be there. Welsh bass baritone Sir Bryn Terfel will apparently perform in Welsh because...
Yeah.
And Freya Ridings will also be performing at the celebration.
You had a good idea of who he could ask to like, maintain relevancy, to be, like... on the cutting edge of relevancy
Mr. Blobby.
amongst the TikTok generation, especially.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, obviously to close the show, because this is going to be like at the Windsor Castle party, which will be on the 7th of May, because the coronation's on the 6th. And then the party's kind of like all weekend, and it's it's back to my place at Windsor.
Yeah.
For,
the after party
with an audience of more than 20,000 people. It'll be he should close the show with Tom Sandoval and the most extras. And it's like they could build him a little thing, and he could come up from the thing,
and do his
cool guy spin. Cool guy spin. So there you go, Tom Sandoval and the most extras. Imagine they got an invite.
I mean,
that would be funny.
That would be epic. It would be so good. I mean, I could not imagine anything better, to be honest.
If they got an invite, it's like, oh, we got an invite to perform at King's Coronation.
Tom Sandoval and the most extras, for anybody who is like completely, who in the world is that? Is from Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, for all you Howie Mandels out there who have no idea about the show. And I've booked a guest that you don't watch the show of, I was in agreement with Andy Cohen there. I was just like, why did he book that guest? Because his daughter was just like, I don't know, who are these people? Who is he talking about?
Yes. Who's Sheena?
Who's
Sheena? Who is
Sheena?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, alright, Katy Perry's got the Orlando Bloom connection, so there's the British connection there. But what, Lionel Richie, that is...
Lionel Richie, yeah. I'm kind of like, because the Commodores, I guess, he was big into, like, Motown and stuff like that. He liked the 3 Degrees, Charles, in the 70s. Yeah, you probably don't know that. I think they were a British Motown style act. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of weird to... I mean, not weird, but it's a little bit like, don't you want mostly British acts? Like, I don't know. Well,
you'd think, because, I mean, they're still leading kind of the way in the British music, they're still...
Oh, Harry Styles, that was somebody else he asked. Did you already say that?
Yeah, I already said Harry Styles. Harry Styles, Ed Sheeran and Adele, they're like the biggest names in music right now across the Western world, at least,
Yeah, probably.
And it's like, they're all British, and it's all like, of course they're going to perform it. They're like, no.
Yeah.
We're all going to be on tour, mate. Sorry. Embarrassing.
Oh, gosh.
And it's just kind of like, it's because no one wants to freaking bother with it, really.
I mean, he said it was going to be, like, or he said, like, as if he's come out, like, this is going to be a very low-key affair. No, his people have said that this is not going to be, like, what it was when his mother was coronated. Coronated? Is that the correct word?
Yeah.
Crowned.
Crowned, coronated, yeah.
Coronated. I don't know, it sounds odd. Sounds like chlorinated.
Chlorinated. That's for the chickens. You leave the chickens out of this.
No, it's going to be a smaller affair because they don't want, basically, I think, the backlash of spending so much money. Like, it was very extravagant back then.
Well, yes. Oh, no, he does not want to spend so much money. He is very
Yeah.
conscious of that, because it's like, oh, the public's going to be having a go at us for spending all this money on security anyway.
Yeah. So the route is going to be, like,
yeah, I
much
haven't really
shorter.
of course, they haven't really given too much update.
Well, no, I saw it on online somewhere. They said that, so he is going to take the same route to Westminster Abbey that his mother took, in the 50s.
Yes.
But then when it was finished, she made, like, a loop around London and hit all the hot spots, like all the big tourist stops, she could, like,
yes, it was like a huge deal.
It was like 5 hours long to come back from Westminster Abbey back to Buckingham Palace, I guess, after the coronation.
It was quite a slow.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah,
too.
because it's got to be so everybody can wait.
He'll be going in the state carriage.
He's going to go back the same way he came. So it's like, it's not very long at all.
It's to take the same route back to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
you have to wonder, like, is that in anticipation of, like,
security?
No, like, much smaller crowds.
Probably, yeah.
Like, they're not expecting there to be It's so sad. I mean, I know people don't like Charles, but I don't know. It's like, he's still a human, Like, I feel bad for him. Poor guy,
Because, I mean, it'll be at Westminster Abbey if you've looked at the map. And then he'll go from Buckingham Palace, down the Mall, through Admiralty Arch, up Whitehall, into Parliament Square, then into Westminster Abbey, you know? And then he'll just, go back the way he came.
Yeah.
Because that's, that's where they'll be able... that's crowd control. It's like, oh, if you want to see him, this is the route. We'll just line you here. He's not going anywhere else,
Yeah, but then it doesn't give other people the chance. I mean, maybe they'll move people out and, like, put the next line up, like, at the front, I don't know.
I mean, because, at the end of the day, this route is going to be paraded through before he even gets there by the armed forces, the bands... the Tiddlywink Society, whoever's going to be in the parade.
He's going to ride one carriage there, and then the one that's like solid gold or whatever.
Back to the palace.
Yeah.
And then he'll get a helicopter out of there.
What? Oh, to Windsor?
Probably.
Yeah.
Actually, he may not even be at Windsor.
They're just going to have the party there.
They're just going to have the party there, because I have a feeling he's probably going to go somewhere else.
He's not going to live at Windsor, is he?
He doesn't. He doesn't like Buckingham Palace. They all never. The Queen hated Buckingham Palace. The only person who liked Buckingham Palace in the royal family was Queen Victoria.
No, but I think I read somewhere that he wanted William and Kate to move to Windsor.
Yeah, he wanted to make that, because he wants to, like, have an excuse to keep that up.
He wants that to be, like, their official residence.
Because that's the ancestral home. That was built by Henry VIII, I think.
Yeah.
And why he bothered building it on the flight path to Heathrow, I don't know. Must have been so annoying.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, no, it's... he wants to keep that in the family,
Yeah.
So it's not just sitting there disused.
But he doesn't want to live there, because apparently that was, like, Queen Elizabeth's favourite.
That was, she loved living there. And she loved Balmoral, which was apparently their private thing, And they also had another place.
Well, Balmoral, isn't that where she died?
Yeah, in Scotland.
Yeah.
But there was a place where Charles had quite close to her, up in the Highlands. I can't remember what it was called, because that's where he was, apparently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
The night, so they must have all kind of known, it's getting to the end, and they've just been keeping Harry out of the loop. Because when reading the book and we're going back into the book now, Harry's like, I didn't know about it all, didn't know, and it's kind of, because he's all wrapped up in his Meghan and battles with the press and clear my name.
He recently went back to the UK for the battle with the press. Like, it was a court date, wasn't it?
Him and Elton John, had a shootout with them at the High Court. Yeah. It was... That's the thing. I think he's not really... everyone in that family's focused on themselves. and when they only learn about each other through the press.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, William's stuff's coming out. Oh, that's bad. Ooh, it's just kind of like, oh, we need to talk to him about it. It's like, oh, I've got no time to talk about that now.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
anyway.
And it'll be a much cut, the coronation itself, that's going to be cut back. Because it was like 6 hours long.
Oh, yeah.
When Elizabeth had hers.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're not going to do any of this fanfare. Because back then it was the old guard had to have their bit to do.
Yeah.
It's like today, they're all dead.
They were speculating
and no one
whether...
really wants to be standing on their feet for 6 hours.
The part where she was like, was it anointed?
Anointing,
where they put a screen in front of her, because that was just like, she wanted that. Like,
yes.
That's a very holy part.
It's a sacred thing.
Cameras don't need to see it. I think
Keep the mystery.
They were speculating before whether or not he was going to do the same thing. Do you know anything about that?
Stages of the service of the recognition. While standing beside the 700-year-old coronation chair, the monarch is presented to those gathered in the abbey by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The congregation shouts, "God save the King!" and trumpets sound.
Yeah.
The oath, the sovereign swears to uphold the law and the Church of England. The anointing, the king's ceremonial robe is removed and he sits in the coronation chair. Gold cloth is held over the chair to conceal the king from view.
Okay. So
the Archbishop of Canterbury anoints the king's hands, breast, and head with holy oil made according to a secret recipe, but no, to contain ambergris, orange flowers, roses, jasmine, and cinnamon, so it'll smell nice. The oil created for Charles will not contain any ingredients derived from animals.
Oh, there we go. Interesting.
The investiture, the sovereign...
Is he a vegetarian?
He's very... I don't know if he's vegetarian.
He's all about the environment.
Yes.
Though. Interesting.
He might be, I'm not sure. The investiture, the sovereign is presented with items including the royal orb, representing religious and moral authority, the scepter, representing power, and the sovereign's scepter. A rod of gold topped with a white enamelled dove, a symbol of justice and mercy. Finally, the Archbishop places St. Edward's crown on the king's head. And then the enthronement and homage, the king leaves the coronation chair and moves to the throne. Peers kneel before the monarch to pay homage, kiss the ring,
Yeah. And then they'll do the queen in the same way.
The queen consort,
right?
yeah. They'll do her.
Yeah. And then she'll start to be called Queen Camilla, won't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's, because they were calling her queen on the front page headlines.
Oh, yeah.
And it confused people.
The Queen, yeah.
Yes, there was like, the Queen says no to pot-smoking FBI movement. Or it was some headline like that. And everybody was like, she's dead. Oh, you having a senior moment, Daily Express. What's going on here, Daily Telegraph, or whoever it was.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
And everybody was just like, they're talking about Camilla. And they were like, no!
I think that's so interesting that even people in Britain are confused about that, because that's a big thing of confusion for people in America. Like, we always, I think, didn't understand why Philip wasn't king. Because
king outranks a queen. Because
over here, we always think, oh, you have a king and a queen, in cartoons or in, fairy tales or whenever there's a king and a queen. But you didn't have that with Queen Elizabeth.
When there's a king and a queen, they're equal.
Yeah.
But when there's a queen and a king, no. The queen will outrank the...
Right. It's whoever has inherited the title.
Yes.
Is the
man.
The one who one who ranks the highest. Yeah, it has to be the highest ranking person. So because she had inherited the title, Queen Elizabeth, Philip could not be called king, because
I don't think
then
he was even called king. I didn't even think he was called king consort.
No, because king outranks queen. Yes, you're playing cards anyway. It does. But
because there was no queen, it was always king. You know?
Before her.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking Queen Boadicea and all that, you know.
Because the original Queen Elizabeth was not...
Queen Cleopatra,
was
remember
not
her?
married. Well, you had Queen Victoria, but yeah, Prince Albert was Prince Albert. I mean, he was not King Albert, you know.
Prince Albert, yeah.
Yeah. So, that's why. Anyway, so she will be Queen Camilla.
She will be Queen Camilla.
And she will be called the Queen, which
Yes.
is weird. They were, for a while, though, somebody pointed out, calling her Queen Consort.
Yeah, well, yes, she is Queen Consort.
Yeah. So, like, to avoid confusion, especially
Yes.
because Queen Elizabeth just died, they were...
And there's
they were
no Queen
referring to
Mother
her.
now, you know, and or anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
Because,
And there won't be, will there?
Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, yes. She was,
Would... Okay, let's say Charles died, you know, in the next few years, and William was crowned king. Would Camilla be referred to as Queen Mother, even though she's not his mother?
No.
They'll take Queen title away from her, I guess.
Yeah, she'll be the Dowager Queen or something. They'll invent some sort of like, oh yeah, she was...
Yeah.
You know,
because she's not his mother, so I don't imagine
yeah.
she would be called. Yeah. Okay, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah, we're
off topic. We're over time. We gotta wrap it up.
We gotta wrap this up.
There's a lot to talk about with this. I mean,
Yes.
if you want to know each and every detail of this, go to thebabc.com and it's all there. And I'm sure it will be there through the coronation and probably...
Oh, yes, it'll be through...
days after.
Well, years after.
Years after. From now until eternity, you will be able to find the details of this coronation. So.
And if you're going to be there, let us know, you know.
Yeah. If we have anybody listening, definitely, that's going to be there, definitely let us know. And even if you're just planning on watching, like, are you one of these people who wakes up like me and watches these things?
Wakes up in the morning.
What time of day is this going to be, actually? Is this going to be, like,
I think
in the middle of the night for us? Or
yeah, I don't know what...
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, it's going to be kind of like... I'm presuming it's like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
Here, know? That was the invitation, wasn't it? Oh, it doesn't say. It just says
on
the date.
On the date, yeah. 6th day of May, yeah. So I imagine maybe 11 a.m. maybe?
Yeah, we don't know. Anyway, if you're planning on watching, you're going to watch whatever time it comes on, even if it's, you know, after it's already happened, which is fine because it's still interesting. It's still historical.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much, as always, for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. Special shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys so much for being our patrons. We value you very much. Be sure to follow us on social media if you don't already. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. And we'll talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.